I studied engineering at university. I worked for IBM for 11 years. I was top of sales school. I was sales, marketing, helped launch the IBM PC in the UK. I became marketing director and then managing director of a database company, Ashton Tate, and in the glory days of the PC, and that was a lot of fun. I became VP International for a US software company, Mathsoft. I ran all the international operations for them. And then I was CEO of a software startup company. So my career has mainly been in high tech, sales, marketing, general management. But for the last 10 years, I've been helping organizations improve innovation. I give talks and workshops on lateral thinking, creativity, and the leadership of innovation. Lateral thinking is approaching a problem from a different direction. It's a phrase coined by Edward de Bono in contrast to conventional thinking or vertical thinking, where we build block on block on block. And lateral just means coming up from the side. That's all it is. So in 2008, a man called Travis Kalanick was in Paris at a conference, and he couldn't get a taxi. And conventional thinking would say, well, if I can't get a taxi, I should get the bus, or I should get the metro, or I should walk. And he thought, is there a different way to solve this problem? Are there drivers around who could give me a lift? And he created Uber. And that's an example of lateral thinking in business, approaching the problem from a different direction. Everyone else thinks, we need more taxis, we need more capacity, we need more buses, we need more trains. He thinks, no, there's plenty of spare capacity if we can just harness it. So lateral thinking is about finding a different solution for a client's problem. Well, I used to collect them and loved doing them, and I couldn't find a book. So I wrote a book of lateral thinking puzzles called Lateral Thinking Puzzlers. And that was my first book. It came out in 1991, and it became a bestseller. Been translated into many languages and sold well over 250,000 copies. And I got interested then, and I've written a number of other books on lateral thinking puzzles, and I run a site called lateralpuzzles.com, where people set and solve puzzles interactively. But I got interested in how you'd use those principles of solving the puzzles in business. Can you use the same methods that you would use for checking assumptions, or coming at the problem from different directions, asking the right kind of questions? Could you put that into some kind of business methodology? And that's what I teach. The golden rules of lateral thinking in business are to check your assumptions. First of all, that's the first rule. Every time you approach a problem in business or at home with your children, with your partner, in your social life, you bring assumptions to bear that limit your ability to solve the problem, limit your ability to see new solutions, because you put it in a frame. We all do it all the time. It's very natural. And I give a lot of examples in my talks of how assumptions limit us. And one way you do that is by asking very basic questions, very searching questions. That's the second rule. You ask very, very basic questions, childlike questions. And the lateral thinker, the innovative leader, is endlessly curious. And they're always probing, why are we doing this? What's the added value here? What does the customer get out of this? What's the real purpose behind this? They're asking the very basic questions to really challenge the thinking of the people around them. And then the third rule really is to approach the problem from a different point of view and to displace yourself from where you are now and start somewhere else and approach the problem from a different direction. And I teach methods to do that in my workshops, and I talk about those methods and give a lot of examples and stories in my talks. Well, we see it all the time. Mark Twain said, it's not what we don't know that gets us into trouble. It's what we think we know for sure. And the things you think you know for sure are the most dangerous things. The captain of the Titanic was sure he could cross the Atlantic at high speed. Recently we've seen the Hillsborough disaster inquiry. And what's become apparent in that is that the police handled it badly because they made the wrong assumption. They thought they were dealing with a crowd disturbance, crowd trouble, and they'd been trained for that. And they applied the methods, and the methods are containment. If you have crowd trouble, you contain it wasn't crowd trouble. It was a deadly crush. So they applied the wrong assumptions to the situation. They applied the wrong solution, and 96 people died. And we see time and time again that the wrong assumptions limit our ability to solve problems. Creativity and innovation are different. There's a lot of confusion. And the definitions I like are these. Creativity is thinking about new things. Innovation is the implementation of new things. So if we have lots of great ideas here today in this room, that's creativity, but it's not innovation. Innovation only happens if you go back and you change something, you do something. So some people say you get creativity for free, but innovation costs money. Innovation involves taking a risk and doing something. And then invention is finding something entirely new that's never been done before. So an innovation, everyone else can be doing it, but if you're the first person in Leatherhead to do it, that's an innovation for you, but it's not necessarily an invention. So creativity is the forerunner to innovation, and the way to innovate is to define the problem, analyze the problem, talk about the outcome that you want, and then to generate lots and lots of creative ideas. And when I say lots, I mean hundreds. And that's where the creativity comes in. Then you select using some criteria, and you choose the most promising ideas and you prototype those, you try them. If you can try them cheaply, that's the best way. Risk-taking and failure are absolutely integral to innovation. If everything you try succeeds, you're not being bold enough. It's as simple as that. So, and one of the questions I ask my audiences in the talk is, why does Roger Federer serve double faults? He doesn't need to. He could get his second serve in very, very safely. But if you watch Federer or Djokovic or Maria Sharapova, she serves a lot. In a match, they'll typically serve 4, 5, 6 double faults. And the point is that the champion has learned that it's not a good plan to go safe on your second serve. It makes it easy for your opponent. So they push the second serve as hard as they can, and they're prepared to accept a certain number of double faults as a price for that. And there's an optimum number of double faults to serve in a tennis match. It's not 0. And there's an optimum number of mistakes and failures you should be making every month, and it's not 0. You should be trying new things that don't work and learning from them, and sharing that with your team. And very often, innovation results from many, many failures. FAIL stands for first action in learning. Well, the answer is innovate. That's what they have to do. But they have to be exactly sure of why customers buy their products and why customers don't buy their products. And that's the source of innovation. So if you know exactly why people choose you or don't choose you and what your real added value is, then you can find new ways to enhance that added value, or you can see what the competition is. So the chairman of Black & Decker once famously said, people don't go into a DIY store to buy one of our drills. They're going because they need a hole in the wall. And it's that concept, what are you supplying? Is it a drill or is it a hole in the wall? And in your case, as a speaker bureau, you're not just supplying warm bodies and speakers, you're supplying information, entertainment, education, enrichment for audiences. Another example I like to give is Wonderbra. Wonderbra, a very innovative company, and what they say in their internal communication to staff is this: we do not sell underwear. We do not sell lingerie. What we sell is self-confidence for women. And once you understand that, and you start to say, why is it that customers really buy from us? Are they buying a service, or are they buying security? Are they buying peace of mind? What is it? Once you understand that, then you've got a direction for your innovation. One of my pet sayings is this: leadership and innovation live in the same house. And by that I mean a leader always changes an organization. A leader always takes it from one place to another. If what you're doing right now is making the current operation run really well, ironing out problems, improving customer service, looking after the staff, making the systems work really properly, you're not a leader, you're a manager. All of those tasks are management tasks. They're essential, by the way. Somebody's got to do them, but they're not leadership. Leadership is working on the organization, management is working in the organization. So a leader always starts by saying, we're here today and we've done really well, thanks guys, but where I want us to be in the future is somewhere different. A leader paints a vision of a better future, and then he or she inspires the people to come on a journey with them. And what they say is, we're here today, I want us to be be in different markets, be serving more customers with fewer resources in these areas in 5 years' time. I need your help to get there. And we're going to get there not by working harder or spending more money necessarily, but by working smarter, by finding new and better ways to do things. And you're the guys that can help see that and find that. Well, I did a lot of speaking in business when I was marketing director and managing director, VP International. I was speaking at conferences, and I always enjoyed it. And I was in the round table and did a lot of speaking there, which was more emphasis on entertainment and fun and humour. And I enjoyed that too. And I started getting requests to speak, even when I was in full-time work. And I found it very hard to fulfill them all. So about 10 years ago or so, I started my own business to focus on my speaking and my workshops and my writing. And I've been all over the world, USA, Middle East, Asia, all around Europe. And I've learnt a lot and enjoyed it greatly. Well, the keynote talk contains a lot of stories and examples and powerful messages. But the workshop contains as well methods, and people learn by doing. So they learn problem analysis techniques. We review their leadership styles. We look at advanced brainstorming techniques, idea generation, idea selection. We look at processes for innovation. So it's more hands-on, more practical, more learning by doing. And I do a creative leadership workshop. And I also do an ideas workshop where we generate ideas specifically for an issue that the organization has right now. So my approach to the talks and what makes me different, I think, is I'm provocative and I'm stimulating. I challenge the audience. I ask them some questions. Some are fun things, some are trick questions, some are lateral thinking puzzles, and some are very hard-hitting business examples and messages. I use a lot of stories. I explain the key points with stories about real situations from various walks of life, mainly business, but from sport and warfare and other areas. And I use that to get the message across. And I have a number of key messages, and I try to make them as practical as possible so that people can take them back to their workplace and be a better manager and a better leader as the result of my talk.